Okay.
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who was they though? We can't say who they is,
corporate
can we?
press. I'm not using I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking
It is
about
them though, isn't it? I mean,
what do I mean? Like, okay, so how about, are you leaving?
Are you referring to the press?
He's gone.
Look, I'm a conservative. I'm fine with Kanye West. I'm definitely not on the cancel Kanye train, but I'm not gonna lie for him either. And that whole interview was just a mess. So if you want my honest thoughts, well, stay tuned. What's up, guys? VinceDao here. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's get right into this because there's a ton to go over. I'll contextualize all of it first, and then we'll talk about that interview itself, okay? So I'll kind of chapter the video if you need to skip ahead, but I'm assuming you already know Kanye West. You know he's running for president again. You know he's being canceled by the powers that be for breaking the matrix of political thought and asking a lot of the wrong questions, right? You probably also know that Kanye has brought Milo Yiannopoulos on as his top advisor, who is honestly one of the shadiest people in the conservative movement. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And Milo himself brought Nick Fuentes onto the team, who is basically like this edgy incel live streamer that the media and ADL obviously label America's top white nationalist, anti-Semite, whatever, right? As you probably know, Donald Trump recently invited Kanye West to dinner. And despite whatever the reasons they said, it was clearly because Trump wanted to work out a deal with Kanye, so they were not in competition for 2024, right? Now, Kanye brought Milo and Nick Fuentes to dinner as his entourage, and that got leaked. Gee, I really wonder by who. And now you have the media and Republican establishment people like Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, and Kevin McCarthy denouncing Trump for having dinner with a white nationalist. Even though the guy in question was a part of Kanye's entourage, Trump clearly had no idea who Nick Fuentes even was. It wasn't intentional, and even then, having dinner with a person is not a crime anyway. Trump has come out and said as much. Hey, they were Kanye's people. I don't even know who they were, etc. But of course, that's not stopping the media and like half of the GOP from just finding an excuse to denounce Trump, which really makes this whole thing seem like a pretty obvious setup. And Milo, who now hates Trump, even admitted that it was all basically a setup to damage Trump. But we'll go more into that in a little bit. Sorry, this whole context part might be a bit chaotic because there's just so many moving parts and a lot to talk about. In the fallout of that, Tim Pool, who is basically like the center-right political version of Joe Rogan, you probably know who that is, brought Kanye West onto his podcast. So that's where we are now. But before we talk about the interview itself, I gotta explain one last thing, and that's my honest opinion on Kanye West, which I will say has been the same. It was the exact same before all of this. It's been my opinion for a while. Some of you guys who watch the streams may know that. And it's this. Look, I really have nothing against Kanye West. He's definitely a guy who's broken the matrix of Hollywood, of politics, of society in general. I think that's a net positive. I think it's good that such a huge star is rebelling against the powers that be in his own way, whatever. At the same time, I have never viewed Kanye as some type of high-octane genius, and definitely not someone who should be a leader in politics or in culture, for two reasons. The first reason is that a lot of his beliefs are frankly insufficient. Politically speaking, he's socially conservative, sure. But if you really hear him speak, a lot of his beliefs are basically structured around the same black identitarianism that I thought people were against, especially the Nick Fuentes crowd. I thought they were super against that stuff. But you listen to Kanye speak about any political issue, it's always centered around not the American people first in general, but black people first, right? It's always that this policy is good or bad only based on whether it's good for black people. And I think you really got an understanding of his worldview recently when he responded to the anti-Semite allegations by basically saying that black people were the real Israelites. Which, if that sounds familiar, that's because it's basically the view of the black Hebrew Israelites, who are like these crazy white people hating black nationalists. I'm not saying that Kanye is one of them, but that seems to be the side that his politics come from, right? That's sort of like, I don't know, Black Panther, Black identitarian kind of thing, right? And on the faith question, I think it's great that he promotes Christianity in a culture where that is obviously so alien. But at the same time, he has associated himself with false teachers like Joel Osteen, and platformed lyrics in his gospel music that are just not really that reflective of Christian values. None of these things would be the biggest deal in themselves because I fully understand, right? He's a mainstream celebrity. You take what you can get. We can't have the same expectations that we would of a politician or a pastor. And if he's generally leading people to the right stuff, with the influence that he has, then we should embrace that. Even if we don't agree with all of it, we should ally with that. But if we're going to view this guy as a political leader, as a candidate for president, then these things matter. The second reason is that, folks, can we admit it? He's a little bit crazy. That just happened live. Wow. Rest in peace, America. Should we just continue? I gotta get this video done. You know, we're doing it live, okay? We're doing it live. Screw it. I'm not gonna fix it. We gotta finish this video. It's already like 7 o'clock. I gotta get this out. All right, we're doing it. All right, go. As I was saying, I can't believe that. He's not all there. Oops. Now this thing's not working. As I was saying, he's not all there. And people are gonna get mad at me for saying that, but seriously, embrace reality for a second. Yes, on one hand, the whole effort to paint him as crazy, but all these other Hollywood people as completely normal is definitely a psyop. But with that said, I mean, just listen to the guy speak. He's all over the place. He almost never makes any sense. And you can say, oh, he's really just a high-octane genius and he's fully in control and he's just eccentric and you don't get it. But I've watched a lot of Kanye West speak. I saw the Trump stuff back in the day, his campaign speech, the stuff he's doing now, and in none of those cases can I ever understand what the guy is saying. And frankly, nobody else can either. They pretend like they do. They don't. Nobody does. He's not all there. He doesn't make any sense. It is what it is. But stop pretending like this guy is some type of eccentric genius or presidential material or even someone to be taken that seriously, okay? He's not. All right, that finally gets us into the Tim Pool interview itself. My gosh, this has been a long video already. But watching the Tim Pool interview was exactly that. Kanye West just really didn't make sense most of the time. I really didn't know what he was saying, but I'm gonna give you what I would say is, in my opinion, a fairly honest and objective rundown of the situation. But you don't have to take my word for that, okay? This is all good faith. So go watch the interview yourself, see if you agree, see what you think of my take. Fully encourage that. But here's how I would summarize it. So very early on in the interview, like a few minutes in, the anti-Semitism stuff already comes up. And that's not because of Tim Pool. It's Kanye that brings it up and says he wants to address it. Okay, fair enough. So then Tim Pool basically gives Kanye the floor. They let him talk almost uninterrupted for several minutes about, I don't know, whatever he was trying to say, like institutions or something like that, I think. And here's the thing. I have not watched a lot of Tim Pool, but from what people typically say about him, I think there's a lot we probably would disagree on in terms of right-wing issues. Have nothing against the guy. I'm only explaining this to say I'm not some type of like Tim Pool shill. I would not consider myself, just right of center, right? But with that said, again, watch for yourself and tell me if you disagree. But I thought Tim Pool was very respectful and a good faith interviewer the whole time. He lets Kanye say his piece, and then, as you saw in the clip I played in the beginning, through the natural flow of conversation, Tim basically just explains his position on this issue. He's not being combative. He's not being aggressive. He basically just says, me personally, I don't know. Is it about those elites or is it about the whole group of people, right? Referring to the whole Jewish thing, which is not a totally out of left field thing to say. Like, if you're going to say the things that Kanye is saying, you'd expect that response, right? That's what most people would say. You'd think, right, if you're Kanye, that would be one of the first things you'd have an answer to. But again, after Tim Pool literally just kind of offhand says that, he states his opinion. He's not grilling Kanye. He's not doing gotcha stuff. He's not yelling at him like some type of libtard saying, you're anti-Semitic, you're a Nazi. But Kanye West, minutes in, just storms off the set. Again, over the topic that Kanye brought up himself. So I don't know. Now, a lot of people have said that it's actually Tim Pool's fault for not controlling the interview better. And I guess I can see that. Now, as another person who does media, obviously, I will say in Tim's defense, I don't really know what he was supposed to do. Like, I really think it was just Kanye's unpredictability more than anything else, because again, Kanye is the one who brought up that topic so early in the interview. And you can say Tim should have steered it away, but wouldn't that also have pissed Kanye off if Tim was like astroturfing the conversation or trying to stop it? Like, Tim was being nice, right? He was giving Kanye a lot of time to talk. And you'd think with someone that sporadic, that would be the best thing to do, right? Like, I think Tim was purposely not trying to piss him off, and the whole thing just happened because Kanye is Kanye. That's the way I kind of saw the situation, but I'm open to other opinions on that. I would love to hear what some of you guys think. Me personally, I don't think Tim handled it that poorly, like hindsight's 2020, but I thought what he was trying to do was on paper the right idea. But in conclusion, on that interview, I will say this. I don't think anyone won. I think it was all just a mess. But I think it was the worst look for Kanye because he lost his composure so fast and for basically no reason. He did not have an answer to the most basic counter argument, and that wasn't even an argument. It was really just a discussion. And he made himself look crazy and stupid in the process, right? And the timing of that isn't great because, yeah, Kanye is always Kanye, but this period is the one where everyone is saying he's officially crazy. He's lost it. He's a nut job. I feel like that interview hypothetically would have been his chance to disprove that to the world, right? To sit down, have a rational conversation, appear reasonable. And obviously he has Nick and Milo there who can kind of help him explain himself, right? They're obviously more articulate. And instead, he kind of just confirmed what everybody already thought about him. People are also mad at Tim Pool for supposedly screwing up the interview too. So the whole situation was just a disaster in my opinion. I don't know what else to say. Nobody won, but it's content, I guess. Now, I do want to talk about the people around Kanye and what's really going on there. Me and Nick Fuentes obviously don't like each other. I think that's a pretty known fact, but he's honestly like the sideshow in the situation. What really needs to be talked about is the very shady relationship between Kanye and Milo. Like I said earlier, Milo is scorned at Trump and admitted publicly in his own words that Nick and the whole Mar-a-Lago dinner was a ploy to damage Trump. And I think The fallout from that situation makes it obvious already, but you don't have to take my word for it. You can take Milo's. And that shouldn't be surprising, because Milo has a pretty known reputation for being a master of blackmail and manipulation. The dude literally admitted on stream that he collects hard drives full of blackmail from everyone he ever does business with and uses that as leverage, because that's not strange or suspicious at all. So again, just a really shady character. He admitted that the feds tipped him off about January 6th. A lot of his past associates say these same things about him. Laura Loomer, Stu Peters, Lauren Southern, I'm sure a lot more. And I'm not saying I particularly like all of those people either, because I think a lot of his past and current associates are just as psychotic as him. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he is bad news, and this whole thing reeks of something very strange, especially when you see the alleged receipts of Milo claiming for months that Kanye West is gay, and, well, we all know Milo. I don't know how true that is. I don't even know if those receipts are real, but it would explain a lot. It's a little bit suspicious, right? Again, not going to take it as fact, but something to look at, consider, kind of break down. But this video is so freaking long already, and I want to do my best to actually get it out today. So maybe in another video or the next stream, we can get into that, because again, the whole situation around him, very shady. Maybe it is worth talking about. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. Leave a like on this video and comment if that interests you, and maybe we'll get to that at some point. But all right, folks, what are your thoughts? Let me know. That video was a lot, huh? I'm going to try to get to editing this now. It's funny, the sign fell over in the middle, and I kid you not. We are rushing to get this out. That's why I didn't fix it. We don't have time, okay? So no fancy outros. Just like and subscribe if you are new. Check out the links in the description. And until next time, Alpha Moves only. God bless. Peace.